Shalom. First off and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth according to the Bible. And shalom to the elect. Shalom. Right? I want to get into this lesson, right? And I'm gonna title it Riches Are Corrupted. Right? So, the main point of this is, the dollar. Hey, these riches of this world are not what we're looking for, and we don't need these riches of this world, right? The Lord's gonna sustain us onto the last days, Lord willing, we're the elect, So even though it's gonna get tough, the Lord's still gonna sustain us. It says in the scriptures, "My servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. My servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty." So the Lord is gonna sustain us and take care of us, right? Above all people on the planet. So let's get into these scriptures. I couldn't even sleep thinking about this. Right? So this is James 5:1. It says, "Go now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." Because really, think about these people with these riches, right? They poured their whole life and soul to collect something that is depreciating in value every day, right? Let's see. Right? So you see this currency fluctuates. Let's see if I can get a picture. Right? Just say this one. So it says purchasing power of $1 in every year from 1635 to 2020. Okay. So purchasing power, right? So it was really high, right? And it's just steadily going down, right? And then you come here, it's at the lowest point, ever, in the history of the dollar, Wow. It says when converted to the value of $1 in 2020, goods and services that cost $1 in 1700 would cost just over $63 in 2020. This means that $1 in 1700 was worth approximately 63 times more than it is today. This data can be used to calculate how much goods and services from the year shown would cost today. By multiplying the price from then by the number showed in the graph, for example, an item that cost $50 in 1970 would cost $335.5 in 2020. Although it is important to remember that the prices of individual goods and services inflate at different rates in currency, therefore this graph must only be used as a guide, right? But this really shows you something, that the value of this dollar is at the lowest point that it's ever been, and it's just gonna keep going lower, right? We're getting into the times of hyperinflation, right? So hyperinflation, monetary inflation occurring at a very high rate, right? The most recent example of hyperinflation is in Venezuela. Prices rose 41% in 2013, and by 2018, inflation was at 65,000%, right? So if uh a a bag of apples was $1, right? Now the price 65,000%, right? It would be $65,000, you know? Right? So now let's go to the news and see what it's saying. Right? Heading to the longest hyperinflation in history. Right, they're going into these cryptocurrencies and all these. They're trying to find a different currency, but that different currency is really going to be adopted when the MOTB is pushed. You know, pushed harder than it is right now. Right. Let's see. See, the hyperinflation happened before. This is during, I want to say, World War II. Or, let's see. No, this is, was it World War One? Let's see if I can get some information. Right here. This was 2018. It says, with the rising interest in cryptocurrencies and alarming signs of dollar collapse, it's about time we revisit history for signs of hyperinflation and potential ways to combat it. Hyperinflation is when monetary devaluation happens so rapidly and out of control that inflation exceeds 50% per month or 100% over 3 years. Hyperinflation is a relatively recent phenomenon of the last century after fiat currency became widespread, and we're under a fiat currency, the US dollar. Unlike gold and silver, fiat currencies are paper money with no intrinsic value, right? It's where we only we establish the value, you know, or they establish the value of the US dollar, right? But with gold, the value is already set, you know. Because it's just fake. It's like it's paper money, you know. It's like we're playing Monopoly, right? It says ever since the US dollar's uncoupling with gold in 1971, this was the big change, right? 1971. The paper bills denominated value is no longer backed by a physical commodity. Instead, its value is determined by supply and demand, backed by our trust in the issuing authority's ability to keep interest rates low. The use of paper money is a necessary condition for hyperinflation to occur, right? So it's been planned out, you know? They won't be using it if they didn't want this to happen. And almost all documented cases of hyperinflation is caused by government's attempt to finance budget deficit by overprinting money, right? And look at the times now. They're printing money like crazy, you know? This is hyperinflation in the post-war Weimar Republic. Weimar Republic, the name of the German government between 1919 and 1933. So one of the most catastrophic hyperinflations in history. During the post-war years, Weimar government ignored rising inflation and commissioned 130 printing companies, to print more money to pay off war debt. Records show that price rose to a ridiculous level. One loaf of bread cost 250 marks in January 1923 compared to 200,000 million marks in November 1923. Wow. The German mark became worthless. People collected their wages in suitcases. Wow. See, so hey, this is how it was. This is an example in history, and it's coming back in a major way, you know? Because think about it, even in the scriptures, right? Because we're getting this information, right? We're getting this information because it's a part of prophecy. We have to understand this because of the prophecy. Let's see. Right here. This is Habakkuk 2 and 6. It says, shall now all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Right? And that thick clay is talking about debt. Right? When you go into the Hebrew. And like the scriptures say, prove all things. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go into the Blue Letter Bible, right? Let's go to Habakkuk 2 and 6, and go into that word clay. 5671, right? Heavy debts, right? Weight of pleasures, heavy debt, right? So that's you can't fight against that because it's right here in the scriptures. Heavy debts, right? Pledging of goods, hence load of debt which one has contracted, right? So what, the same thing that happened here, right? The whole thing with the war. They started printing all that money to pay off these war debts, right? Because what was it, the Treaty of Versailles, right? So they basically saying they lost the war, they needed to pay back these debts, right? They hired 130 printing companies, right? Thought they was slick, and then their money went worthless, right? The same way that it's gonna but hey, the what's it called? America, or that little horn, right? Or that the the whore that rideth upon the dragon, or upon the beast, right? Babylon the Great. They already accumulated all this debt over the years, right? If we could go, let's go to the let's see. It says the total U.S. consumer debt is at 14.9 trillion. That includes mortgages, auto loans. Wait, no. U.S. debt. In August 2021, the public debt of the United States was around 28.43 trillion U.S. dollars, around 1.7 trillion more than a year earlier, when it was around 26.73 trillion U.S. dollars, right? So let's go back into James 5 and 1. It says, go Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you, right? Because yeah, this dollar's about to be worthless, right? The following in this beast system, following after the mysteries of Babylon, right? And worshiping the beast, right? They're gonna get caught in this trap, right? It says your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days, right? So what they gathered all this money and stuff just so it can be transferred over to the nation of Israel, right? All that gold that they got, all that silver that they collected, right? That they uh, um, stole from rape, robbery, murder of the whole planet Earth, it's going right back to the righteous, right? And let me get some other scriptures. Gotta do it over here. So this is Proverbs 28:8. It says, he that by usury and unjust gain increaseth his substance, he shall gather it for him that will pity the poor, right? So it's going to YAHWASHI, but it says in the scriptures that we'll be joint heirs, you know, so we're gonna receive those riches, right? Hey, hey, we gotta have our streets paved in gold. Hey, that's what the scriptures say. Let me see. Yeah, right here. So it says, it should be right here. It's, well, verse 18, Revelation 21:18 says, and the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold like unto clear glass, right? So our city is going to be of gold, you know, and all these other precious stones and materials, right? So what? It just, hey, it's going to be gathered, right? It's already gathered, right? Psalms 39. Psalms 39:6, it says, surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heapeth up riches and knoweth not who shall gather them. Right? But in this case, right, the people of this world, you know, and like the elites of this world, right? They're heaping up these riches, but don't know that's gonna go onto the nation of Israel. They don't understand it, right? It's uncomprehendable to them, you know, because the what they have, right? And them living in the pleasures of this world, right? Let's go.